Today we're going to talk about customer lifetime value. Customer lifetime value is the amount of money that a business makes from a customer over their lifetime. So by knowing this, it allows us to prioritize where we focus our efforts or our resources to drive value for the business. This week, I had a potential client reach out, team sports and event management company specifically for youth lacrosse. And they were talking about improving their profitability. And so one of the questions I asked them was, well, what is your customer lifetime value? And they didn't know. So I said, well, let me break this down for you. So let's start with the first word, customer. Who is the customer for the sports and event management company? Because they do lacrosse, you're going to be dealing with athletes. So these athletes participate on the teams, they compete in tournaments, they buy gear and apparel from the sports and event management company. So you may be saying to yourself, well, Joe, I don't own a sports and event management company. I own a game store or a barber shop. Well, just think about this in the terms of your business and just bear with me. So who are your customers for your specific business? The next word is lifetime. Lifetime is the time from the very initial first purchase that a customer makes to their last purchase. And so for this example, let's imagine that the sports and event management company has a league that primarily focuses on high school athletes only. High school is 4 years. So in this example, let's imagine that high school athletes pay to compete up to 4 years. So the maximum amount of time, the maximum lifetime would be 4 years. In this example, let's imagine that the average customer stays for 3 years. So you might have someone that starts and plays for 1 year and then stops, plays for 3 and then stops. And just when you average that out across all customers, what is the average lifetime of a customer? So in this example, we'll use 3 years. We then jump to the next word, so value. That's the money that the business makes from each athlete each year. This one gets a little bit more complicated, so let's break it down. So we start with the amount of money that comes in from the athlete. Let's imagine $1,000 is the cost for the athlete to join the team. They then spend $1,500 in gear. They need their lacrosse stick, their helmet, their mouth guard, their cleats for grass, turf, etc. So they need to get their gear. Then they're going to want to buy swag because they want to fit in with their team, so they buy $500 of apparel. Then they have to pay $3,000 in tournament fees. So that's $6,000 of money in per year per athlete for the business. Okay, but then we have to think about the costs associated with fulfilling the team, the gear, the apparel, and the tournament fees. The money out for the direct business expenses associated with the 4 things we just talked about. The coach for each team is $20,000. $18,000 for gear for the team, $7,000 in apparel for the teams, and $50,000 in tournament costs. The business pays $95,000 of direct expenses for the team. Well, we need to get this on a per customer or per athlete level. So if we've got 25 athletes per team, we take the $95,000 divided by 25 means that our costs are $38 money out per athlete. Okay, so now we need to know the value. So we start with the $6,000 that we had coming in, and then we paid out $3,800 per athlete. So money in less money out means that we had $2,200 of value per athlete per year. Okay, so now let's put those together. Customer lifetime value. So remember, we said the customer was your athlete. The customer lifetime in this example was 3 years. And the customer value was $2,200 per athlete per year. But we want the customer lifetime value. So the customer lifetime value is the 3 years times $2,200 per year gets us to $6,600 per athlete. So every incremental athlete that we add gives us $6,600. I encourage you to think about these metrics on how they fit into your business. So earlier I mentioned the barbershop or the gaming company. So let's say you hold events for Magic or Dungeons & Dragons and they spend in your store. How much lifetime value do you get per customer? Or if you're the barbershop, how much does a typical client spend over their lifetime with you coming in to get haircuts? So what is your customer lifetime value? You're like, okay, great, Joe. Now, what do I do with that? The so what of this metric. So we think about growth of the business. So once we know that, now we can allocate your limited resources across the business. That's the job of the owner. And so in this case, you've got one athlete equals $6,600 in profit. So if I add more athletes, I make more profit. So that is one way to grow the business. Okay. The next one is increase their average lifetime. So earlier we said, well, you've got the opportunity to have someone who stays for 4 years because high school is 4 years, and we use the average of 3. Well, because you've got athletes who are quitting halfway through their high school season, or they try it out for 1 and they don't continue. Well, how can we reduce the number of athletes who quit across those 4 years? So if we can increase the lifetime, we increase the value. Or let's say we've maxed out high school and we say we want to expand into middle school. So you've got a 2-year middle school. Instead of just 4-year high school, you could expand the lifetime upwards from 4 to 6 years. So in an example here on the screen, $2,200 per year, which was the value earlier, at 3 years is $6,600 profit per athlete. Well, if we increase that from 3 to 5 years, that same athlete now delivers $11,000 of profit to the business. So you don't necessarily have to increase the number of athletes. You can also increase the lifetime of each individual athlete. Now let's go into value. It's about increasing the value of each athlete to the business. How do we do that? We could increase team fees for each athlete, say by $100 a year per athlete. We could increase the volume of purchases, apparel that each athlete buys, come out with new cool apparel that each one wants to buy to fit in with their team. Or the third one is you can negotiate costs with your apparel vendors. So if we can get our apparel for, say add 2 to 5% on your margins, you can get better profit margins on each piece of apparel. So let's look at a real example. So if we increase the fees on $100 per year, so originally we were at $2,200 per year, over 3 years is $6,600 of lifetime value per athlete. If we increase it $100 per year to 23, from $2,200 to $2,300 per year across the same length, we now took the average customer lifetime value from $6,600 to $6,900 per athlete. And those are different ways that we can prioritize the limited resources within the business. So my recommendation, know your numbers, identify what is our customer, how much are they worth. Number 2, within that, we gave 3 different examples: increase customers, increase their lifetime, or increase their value to the business. So of those 3, which is the largest opportunity within your business? And then you would want to prioritize, focus on that specific opportunity. And then within the business, you'd want to remove all distractions. So anything that isn't associated with increasing that customer lifetime value, or something that is going to not bring as much value, you would want to remove that and prioritize more focus on the thing that's going to bring more value or profit to the business. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions or you want to see an example for your specific business, shoot me a note. Happy to help any way I can.